people, Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a Life Crafted album page using the Cocoa Daisy Afternoon Tea collection. I'm going to be using one item 3 ways today, and that is going to be journaling cards. So if you know anything about the Cocoa Daisy journaling cards, you know that there are a great mix of, there's 24 3x4 cards first of all, and then there's a great mix of patterns, which I'm going to be using as patterns, and then journaling cards and designer cards. So I'm going to be using all 3 types of journaling cards today on my layout featuring us planting basil and tomatoes. I don't really have too much of a garden here, but we do have these big planters that we like to put tomato and basil in every summer. So that is what I'm going to be scrapbooking. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I needed to do was figure out the papers I wanted to use, and I settled on this beautiful green chevron, and since I had initially pulled out pink and yellow patterned cards, and I decided to use this orange sort of florally paper, they weren't going to work. So I'm going to take these 2 paper strips that I had cut off of the excess parts of the paper, and I'm going to put them on the outside edges of each of these paper sides, just because I like the framing aspect of it. And also both patterns were a little bit loud by themselves, but I felt like it helped to tone down the overall composition by adding the patterns to each of the outside edges, like the opposite patterns, and that way I don't have to use too many extra paper strips in this composition too, because the orientation of the photos and the cards and everything that I had in mind was going to take up a lot of room, so I didn't have a lot of room to add some extra paper strips. So I want to make a pocket out of this 3x4 card, and I'm going to do that by using my red line tape along the edges of the bottom and side edges of the paper, and then I'm going to use my circle punch to cut a little half circle out of the top so you can see that it's a pocket. And then I'm going to peel the red line tape off and just put it down where I want it to be. Now, red line tape is super duper sticky, so once it's down, it's definitely down. So make sure that you know where you want your pocket to be, or whatever you're using red line tape on, before you put it down. But I knew I wanted it there, so we were good. I'm going to use this journaling card as a tag for inside that pocket. It needs to be really trimmed down so that it fits in between those rails. And I accidentally did not put my bottom rail high enough, so I'm just going to have to make sure that I don't push that card all the way down. But I want it to be on top of this photo, since there's some dead space down there in that photo that's really just not beautiful to look at. So I'm going to mat it with this journaling card. I love that the Cocoa Daisy cards come with patterns on the back of some of them now. It makes it super easy to mat photos. So I'm going to mat this photo, and I'm going to stick it behind that journaling card that's sticking out, so that It's a Nice Day covers up sort of the bottom part of that photo. And then that is basically the composition on the right hand side. I'm going to keep this page fairly simple, simple for me at least. We've got the interactivity going on, and so I don't feel the need to over embellish the page too much. So now on the other side, I'm going to use this photo of Finn, and it's going to be at the bottom of the page. I'm trying to figure out if I want to use paper strips or if I want to mat it like I matted the other photo, because these journal cards that I have pulled out, the pattern cards, don't really match, or it's not that they don't match, it's that that blue especially does not stand out very well. So instead I decided to go with this horizontal 4x6 card and use that bright yellow to mat instead. So I'm just going to trim this off, save that beautiful floral for something else down the line. And now that yellow just adds that nice pop of color behind the photo that makes it stand out from that chevron, which can be overwhelming, that chevron. So now I'm going to double matte this photo because I felt like it wasn't quite standing out enough. So I'm going to actually double matte it on this blue because the navy blue sort of draws in the blacks from both photos and makes everything stand out just a little bit better, I think. And I think that the separation of the black sweatshirt with the blue and the blue background with that yellow paper really makes the whole thing stand out and pop a lot better. I saw on this sticker sheet this sticker that said, "What you plant today, you harvest tomorrow." So I'm going to stick that on this die cut, that's the little notebook, and I'm going to back it with the orange tag because I wanted to bring in some more orange from the background paper. I really want to use that floral that ties into the floral paper that I'm using, but I can't quite figure out where I want to use it yet. And then there's a little bit of pink on those garden shears on the journal card, so I wanted to pull in a little bit of pink as well. So I'm going to do that with that label strip that I'm eventually going to add a date to. I flipped it back upside down because I knew I wanted to use this word bit, and so I wanted it to overlap the pink and not the white part where I was going to add my date. So that says the important things in life are the important things in life are the little details. Then I wanted to add this scallop too because I wanted to add a little bit more dark blue. And I'm just gonna peel this up and put it right underneath so that it's sticking out. And then I want to use this fave, and I think I'm going to bracket the label with the fave so that everything is nice and tight down there, using all of my layering on the left hand side of the page instead of the right hand side of the page. And I'm going to actually create a large title on the left hand side as well. So I've got that green thumb bracketing the label that I'm eventually going to add the date to, and so that brings in some of that green from the other side too, that more yellowy green. So I have this acrylic piece. It's actually completely see-through, but it's April. It says APR for April, and I want to put that on this page as well, and I think I'm just going to put it right over the top of that quote that I added once I peel off the backing. So it's really hard to see on camera. You can definitely see it better in real life, but it just adds like this ghost effect to where I end up putting it that's really, really cool. So I wanted to make sure that you could read it, but not that it stood out really crazily. So I'm going to put it right here on the top, and I should have waited until I did my title, but you know, I can fix it later. So I'm just going to add this piece, and then I'm going to add in my title with blue puffy letter stickers above it. And my title is going to say tomato and basil season. And then I decided to put this floral that matches the floral paper right behind that April piece so that it stands out just a little bit more, and also because I felt like that corner of underneath the title looked a little bit odd, like that blank space. So I'm just going to add it in here. I need to tuck it behind the quote card, and then we're just about done here. I'm going to add in my journaling off camera. You can see I also added a pull tab on the It's a Nice Day card over there. I did that off camera on accident, but it's just from the sticker sheet, and so I added a pull tab front and back. Then I'm going to add pull to the top just so that you can really see that you're supposed to take that out. Last thing I'm going to do is add in my date and some washi tape to the bottom of that You'll Find Me in the Garden card, and I'm going to call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And there's a link to Coco Daisy in the description box below. I'll see you next time. Thank you.